Hey, what's up everybody? This is Suburbs501 and today I want to go over what I think is the best AK-101 build in a patch 12.9 of Escape from Tarkov. Now before we get into the video, 99% of you that watch my videos aren't subscribed, so make sure to subscribe if you want to keep up with all my Escape from Tarkov videos. And like with all of my builds, there will be a link in the description to the Tarkov Gun Swap website where you can go and easily see all the parts you need for this build and see updated prices for all of these parts on the flea market. When I went over the lowest recoil version of the AK-101, I said that I thought this is one of the most underrated weapons in the game, and I still think that, and I think this build is going to give you the best options for using this weapon. Now, some of the reasons this weapon is so underrated in my eyes is because the stats are overall pretty good. 56 ergo with 47 vertical recoil is really good, especially considering the fire rate is 650, so it's a very accurate weapon in terms of handling. Now, past that, this weapon has the highest muzzle velocity in the game, if I'm not mistaken. It's extremely high. It's also an overall extremely accurate weapon. Add that in with using the 5.56 cartridge, and if you're using something like M995, those also have a very high muzzle velocity. This is easily one of the most accurate medium to long range weapons in the game. And like I said when I went over the lowest recoil version of this build, it's even really good if you're trying to get Shturman in heaven, because it's so accurate with the very strong rounds of M995, you can very easily hit those long range headshots that you need for Shturman in heaven. And the only downsides to this weapon are a lower fire rate and only being able to have 30 round magazines, but pretty much everything else about this weapon is extremely strong. So first we have the Fab Defense PDC dust cover, and then on that we're going to have our sight. Now the only things you have to choose when determining your sight are what range you want to use the weapon at and how much that sight is going to affect the ergo of the weapon. Now like I said, since this is one of the most accurate weapons in the game, you can easily use whatever sight you want. If you want to use a Valde for long range, you can do it easily. If you want to use a Voodoo with the sight on top of it, you can easily use that and use this as a sniper for super long ranges. Personally, for general use, I use the EOTech XPS-30, but if I was going to use it as a sniper, I would probably be using it with a Valde. And then we're going to have the Zenit RP1 charge handle for 1 additional ergo. And then for the stock, we're going to have the AK-74/AK-100 PT lock. And then on that, we're going to have the Zenit PT3 stock. And then for the pistol grip, I'm going to have the US Palm pistol grip. Now there are two other pistol grips that give the same amount of ergo, the RK3 and the Scorpius. And those give the same amount of ergo, but the US Palm does reduce the weight by a decent little bit compared to the Scorpius or the RK3. So personally, I'd put that on. It's usually a pretty cheap pistol grip as well. So personally, especially if I'm sniping with this, I want it to be as light as possible, so I'd recommend using the US Palm pistol grip. Now, like I said, one of the biggest downfalls of this weapon is only being able to have 30 round magazines. But with that being said, the magazines are very cheap. 30 rounders do load pretty quickly. And for this Arsenal CWP, which is the magazine I recommend, because both the magazines are very cheap, this magazine also shows you the exact amount of ammo anytime you check it. Anytime you go ahead and check it, even if you don't have the skill leveled up to that point, it will show you the exact amount of ammo in it, which is a pretty big buff. And also with the weapon having 650 RPM, having a smaller magazine is not as bad as, say, having a 30 rounder on an 800 RPM M4 or something like that. Then for the grip, we're going to have the Strike Industries Keymod 6-inch guide. And on that, we're going to have the Fortis Shift Tactical grip. And this is the grip I would 100% recommend because it gives such a massive ergo bump. And with the weapon only having 650 RPM, a 47 vertical recoil in fully automatic is still very controllable. So you don't need the little bit extra recoil reduction something like an RK2 would give. And then for our tactical device, we're going to have the Victor Casvi Keymod 2-inch guide. And that we're going to have the D-Ball Tactical Flashlight. You can use whatever tactical device you want, but I recommend the D-Ball because it gives you all 4 of the tactical device options in one item. For our muzzle device, we're going to be having the CNC Warrior muzzle device adapter. Then on that, we're going to have the Thunder Beast 223 CB muzzle brake. And on that, we're going to have the Thunder Beast Ultra 5 sound suppressor. Now this suppressor gives a really low recoil. It's also much shorter than a lot of the other sound suppressors. And for a suppressed full-size rifle, this is actually decent size. It's not ridiculously long like something like an HK, so you can actually get it through doorways and peek corners much more easily. And also, this weapon silence is incredibly silent, so it's going to be hard for people to see where you are, especially if you're long range sniping. And then we're going to have the AK-74 gas tube. And then I did keep the AK standard rear sight on. Doesn't really matter taking it on or off. You can take it off and get a very slight weight reduction, but either way, it's not really going to matter that much. And then we're going to have the Voltor CMRD key mod handguard, and that is going to be the entirety of the build. And like I said, I think this is still one of the most underrated weapons in the game. It's very, very easy to hit medium and long range shots with this because you don't have to lead near as much. And even if you're getting in close quarter encounters where something like a higher fire rate and a higher magazine size would help quite a bit, this can still use M995. And with it being a very accurate weapon and fully automatic, you can still very easily win fights in close range if you place your shots correctly. And like I said, there will be a link in the description to the Tarkov Gunsmith website where you can go and see all the parts you need for this build and see updated prices for all of those parts on the flea market. So subscribe if you want to see more Escape from Tarkov videos. Leave a like if you liked the video. Leave a comment down below what you guys think about this build. And thanks for watching.
Damn, I'm tired of walking.
Понятно. Пожрать бы, конечно, вообще не помешало бы это.
Дикие еще эти. Их только.
That guy over there! Cover up with something.
Заебись, удачно зашли.